Welcome, everybody. We are so thrilled you're here today for the Texas conference. But I just want to acknowledge Mary Margaret McAllen, who is our Director of Special Projects, and this is her project. So, thank you. This is Mary Margaret's second conference at the Witte. It was her dream to have a conference of this. Of the stature of the people in this room, and so thank you, Mary Margaret, for establishing the conference on Texas at the Witte Museum. My name is Maurice McDermott. I'm president and CEO of the Witte Museum. I am really sorry that I'm so far away from you. I really just want to kind of hang out together. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pretend to be formal, but after my talk, we're going to go ahead and move all the seats up. So Francine, you'll be able to, hang out with folks. So forgive me for my formality. We are delighted, of course, that you're here today for the second annual conference on Texas. And this one, the theme is 250 Years of Art for History's Sake. We are so grateful for the enlightened support of the conference's presenting sponsor, Elizabeth Huth Coates Charitable Foundation, their second year for sponsorship. So I definitely want to give them a round of applause. We are so pleased to thank the Summerlee Foundation, the John and Florence Newman Foundation, Jefferson Bank, Humanities Texas, Heritage Auction, the John G. and Marie Steller Kennedy Foundation, the Vote Auction Galleries, Meta and Boo Hauser, Plains Capital Bank, Amy Shelton McNutt Foundation, and John and Susan Kerr. Thank you also for the sponsors of this evening's reception, the Veltri and Valiguez Wealth Management of Wells Fargo Advisors. I'm so grateful to all of you for this conference. We could not, here we are because of you. Thank you so much. The conference is in honor of the formidable exhibition, The Art of Texas 250 Years, with a book of the same name published by Texas Christian University Press. We are so pleased, humbled, to have as the Witte's powerful partner and sponsor for the book and the exhibition, the Center for Texas Studies at Texas Christian University. We have the executive director of the Center for Texas Studies here with us today, Leanna Schooley. Leanna, please stand wherever you are so we can thank you. This last 4 years have been endless generosity and support. Sponsoring the exhibition is the Russell Hill Rogers Fund for the Arts, the Stillwater Foundation, the Carolyn and Houston Hart Fund, Ted and Sharon Lusher, the Sarah E. Hart and John S. Goltzer Fund, Brad Brewer, and Nancy and Ted Popp. Can we have a round of applause for all these amazing donors? Gutzler. I meant John Gutzler. So now let me start by saying The Art of Texas 250 Years is a comprehensive exhibition, no doubt, on the illumination of Texas history and culture. The exhibition is organized around three theme areas. How many people got a chance to see the exhibition this morning? Okay, so you'll know this, but for those who haven't yet, it's organized in the vast and varied landscape where artists have explored every corner of Texas in styles and techniques as varied as the land itself. Second, peopling the land, revealing how people work, live, and celebrate and contemplate. 3, urbanism, where artists documented Texas' transition from a rural to an urban environment. Throughout the galleries, from romantic to realistic, the themes of empowerment and disempowerment are ever present, as are artistic expressions of social, political, and economic forces shaping what we now call Texas. Expect the unexpected as you explore the galleries. The exhibition's curators of the Art of Texas are 2 powerful Texas art aficionados, scholars, specialists, Dr. Ron Tyler and Michael Duty, without whom the exhibition and these masterful works of art would not be here at the Witte Museum's galleries for this summer. Dr. Tyler is also the editor of the book, The Art of Texas 250 Years. I do want to just say that this fabulous book will be available in a couple of weeks. It's, how that goes, right? But we do have a special booklet that the center, and Texas Christian University made sure we had. So if you buy the book, you will get this fabulous booklet. So we definitely urge you to do it. It's such an amazing book. I'm going to formally introduce both Ron and Michael before their luncheon talk today. But let me say now that the mastery, prowess, scholarship, and reputation is what made this exhibition and conference possible. Because of the decades of work and focus on Texas art by both Ron and Michael, museums throughout the state and nation said yes to the lending of their precious art collections, and lenders, many of whom are here today, thank you so much, said yes to taking the art off the walls of their homes to hang at the Witte Museum. Thank you, Ron and Michael, for teaching us so much over these years and for ensuring excellence at the Witte Museum. Also, thank you, esteemed leaders of Texas art. Will all the lenders, museums, and private of these extraordinary Texas artworks, can you please stand so we can acknowledge you? And Ron and Michael, will you also stand, please? Thank you. So grateful to you. Okay. All right, so my talk is entitled Postcards from the Frontier. When I first read this course, Mary Margaret, she does everything, and you all know this. She did all your titles. She did my title. And when I first saw the title, I ran out the hallway and I said, oh my gosh, I can't possibly have this title. This is terrible. I mean, it's, postcards is a great works of art, not postcards. And also it's a frontier. It's not a frontier. We all know that, right? It's there are people who have been here for thousands of years, and what on earth I couldn't possibly. And Mary Margaret said, you just have to kind of have fun for a while. And of course she's right. Of course she's right. Like, oh, okay. So let me say about that, that once I settled down, I realized that even though technically the definitions definitely hold up, just so you know, right? Postcard, a card on which a message may be written without an envelope and to which a sender may affix a stamp. Well, that the art, no. And then frontier, a region that forms the margin of settled or developed territory. I mean, we're really in trouble now. But if, as Mary Margaret advised, we riff a little bit, from kind of a jazz point of view, the title really does work for opening this conference. For instance, many of us in this room know about art around the world from postcards, cards, from what we now use, Instagram, right? Today that's postcards or Instagram. We know about people's experience with art. We at the Witte sell postcards of art, and we also send out, we have our social media manager right here, Samantha, sending this out to the world. But here's Kinsabi Ranch, and this is a postcard that we sell at the Witte. And I mean, these postcards are very popular. When you see the Matisse or Manet or whatever from all over, you send postcards. You want to share with your dearest friends your transformative experience that you had in front of that piece of art, that photograph of the Grand Canyon, also art. You are sending the experience out to the world. And how bold it is to write on the back of that postcard your ideas, and for everybody to read as that postcard goes through. Same thing with social media. In some ways, social media is the postcard of today. And from that point of view, that is what we in the museum world are about. We are about spreading this art and the experience, more important, the experience of art to the world. And regarding the frontier, yes, this is a romantic, if not imperialistic word relative to Texas. Texas was considered a frontier, is considered today a frontier. And so that's why so many artists come here, as Ron Tyler has taught us, as so many of you have taught us. That's why they visited here. That's why they stayed here on the vast and varied landscape. But however, we know that Texas was not truly on the edge of living. And so I have to take this note of opportunity to say that although this particular exhibition and book are about 250 years, and we did talk about it when we got together to talk about the exhibition, in fact, this place in Texas has been a place, and throughout the world actually, inspired art for thousands of years, with the rock art narrative still present in the Lower Pecos Canyon lands and of course throughout the world. But please take a moment if you can today, for those of you who have not been here, upstairs we have a People of the Pecos Gallery where we are witness to the rock art along with the scholarly scholarly interpretations of paintings of about 4,000 years ago. And actually, I am wearing that right now here. This is sort of like a postcard also, scarves, as an homage to art. And this is one. Is it upside down? So this is running deer, created 4,000 years ago. And so we just have to acknowledge that there are artists from thousands of years ago. So with that, let me take a little bit of time here to talk about this masterful exhibition and also publication. Okay, here we go. So Texas art scholar Ron Tyler presented this idea to the Witte Museum along with Michael Duty several years ago, and actually it turns out 5 years ago. We thought it was several. A while ago on Texas art about several centuries. So the two of them said, we ought to do this. Soon thereafter, wonderful Dr. Mary Balkanzik came as well, who was then the executive director of the Center for the Studies of Texas Studies at Texas Christian University, TCU. So we agreed then that the exhibition should be here at the Witte Museum, and that also wonderful Texas University Press decided to publish the book. I was a little worried about this, frankly, because there are great museums throughout Texas that are now focusing on Texas art, and we wanted to make sure that that was the right decision. What followed was a robust collaboration among scholars, collectors, and owners of Texas art throughout the state and the nation, all vying reflectively for the presence and inclusion. Is Texas art also American art? Have we included the regions of Texas, the cultural mix, the rural and urban character? And what emerged from those amazing meetings across the state was the formulation of an unprecedented and comprehensive collection of Texas paintings and sculptures over 3 centuries. All artists no longer living were considered, but what emerged really was a representative of works as they illuminated a series of themes, and broadly described, and a lot of you are in this room today, the book included early Texas art, of course, by Dr. Ron Tyler, Ricardo Romo on Hispanic origins and Latino art, as he talks about, Kenneth Hafferteef on European influence, Sam Radcliffe on history, Susan Khalil on landscape, Light Townsend Cummins on sculpture, Richard B. McCaslin on rebranding Texas, Rebecca Lawton on impressionism, William E. Reeves on the seminal art competitions, including the Edgar B. Davis competition here at the Witte Museum in the 1920s and 30s, Michael Grauer on horses and cattle, Jay Weinart on self-taught artists, Scott Shearer on African American artists, and Kay Robinson Edwards on modernism. Cumulatively, these themes created by these outstanding scholars and specialists provided a tapestry of possibilities. With long tenure in museums and collections, Michael Duty, of course, took the role of curator along with Ron Tyler as the forensic investigator where the chosen art was located and how it could be secured for inclusion in both the book and exhibition. At the end of that process, we realized, there are a lot of paintings at the Witte Museum, so I think we got it. We're good. You'll see our collection throughout the whole gallery, and also looking really carefully at the history of the Witte, at the seminal exhibitions here, we felt very confident that this was the right place to do it. And the Witte Museum made the decision, along with our trustees, to go ahead and do this important exhibition. So it is a tour de force, we believe, both the book and the exhibition, and it does make the case for Texas art as American art. Dr. Francine Carraro, you'll hear in one of the audio tours, by the way, there are audio tours with some of you, including Francine, who makes a case for American art, Texas art as American art. I will not explain what you see in there, but I will say that the seminal exhibitions that I talked about at the Witte Museum included the Art for History's Sake exhibition with the book of the same name by curator Cecilia Seinfeld, who left us in 2013, but it was here for 54 years. Quite extraordinary curator and so inspiring to so many of us. And William Guestman wrote in his introduction to that book that that exhibition and book made a case for Texas art as fine art in that Witte catalog. He said, people, genres, and portraits, rather than geysers and the Rocky Mountains, predominate. And that is exactly why you'll see land, peopling the land, and urbanism in this exhibition. So I want to move on to the fact that, again, the Witte leadership, it was a little bit of a risk. We do have here the chair of our Witte Forever campaign, Peggy Walker, who slipped in. And so Peggy was responsible, along with her co-chair, for raising $101 million to transform the Witte Museum and to get this gallery in particular ready for this exhibition. Peggy, can you just stand, because I have to always acknowledge you and your power. We absolutely could not have taken on this exhibition without the transformation. So another really critical moment of realization about the Witte's importance is Eleanor Onderdonk. Eleanor Onderdonk, who is the sister of Julian, the daughter of Robert Onderdonk, and an artist herself. We here at the Witte are very inspired by her art, both large and small, mostly small. She was the curator here from 1927 to 1958. And among the exhibitions Onderdonk assembled was the Texas Centennial Exhibition in 1936 of early Texas paintings. And as Witte chief curator Amy Fulkerson has documented, among the acquisitions by Onderdonk were paintings by Seth Eastman, Thomas Allen's Markets Plaza, and Eleanor made a series of purchases, of course, of her brother's and her father's work. Today that might be considered a little, odd, but thank goodness that it was fine back then. And one of them that I'm so thrilled that they did, of course, is Dawn in the Hills, Julian Onderdonk's last work, which Michael Grauer knows is my absolute favorite. He and I have discussed that painting at length after his Texas Impressionism exhibit. So the other really critical collection that we have because of Eleanor is Theater Gentil, many of which are illustrated in this book and in the exhibition, but we use as our art for history's sake revelations of the different ethnicities, the cultural mix, the celebration of the Texas Indians, and of course the Tejano culture here in San Antonio and throughout Texas. So critically important, Theater Gentil's work. Also during her tenure, works by Jose Arpa, Boyer Gonzalez, Carl G. Avonsky, and Mary Bonner, among others, were donated. In the 20th century, Texas art curator, who you can hear from today, Martha Utterbeck, who just is finishing the raisonné of Theater Gentil, renowned Witte curator, of course, Cecilia Seinfeld, did a series of exhibitions, the Texas Art Collection of the Witte Museum, of course, and then A Family of Texas Painters, which is a seminal book on the Onderdonks. There have been many since then, but that was so critical. Of course, we have here Harry Hauff, who's done the masterful raisonné of Onderdonk. Harry, we bow to you and the amazing work that you have done on the Onderdonks. Thank you for that. And then it really is humbling to note that most of the great artists of the Texas scene in the 19th and 20th century have not only been displayed at the Witte Museum, have played critical roles as teachers here at the Witte, which is amazing to us. As Ricardo Romo notes in his essay, Spanish Impressionist artist Jose Arpa exhibited at the Witte, and both Boyer Gonzalez and Javier Gonzalez, Jose's nephew, taught at the Witte Museum. All three became internationally renowned. William Reeves describes the high-profile Davis competitions, the Edgar B. Davis, in 1927 to 29, hosted at the Witte Museum, focusing on the landscape of Texas and attracting artists from throughout Texas and the United States. The selection committee comprised of the state's top artists, including Arpa, Dawson Watson, Rolla Taylor, Eleanor Onderdonk, and Emma Richardson Cherry. The paintings chosen were displayed at the Witte Museum at exhibitions, and according to Reeves, lavishly covered by statewide press and magazines. The leading piece that we have for this exhibition is a Dutton, and that piece that you'll see in the opening is one that was chosen, the theme was cattle, I believe, for the Davis competition. So that's why we chose that piece. So the art of Texas in final is not a small concept. not just as Texas is not a small state, it's a nation. At the Witte, we focus on what we call Texas deep time with the themes of land, sky, and water, and relative to human occupation of what is now Texas. The prehistoric people, as I noted, painted stories that rival rock art globally with cosmological complexity, featuring animal and human-like figures that are as edgy as modern art today. But in fact, this book illustrates that there is only the rare Texas painting that does not include the edgy nature of Texas, but with the vast ecological zones of the state, from mountains to prairies, deserts to piney woods, the only unifying theme is the implication of roughness. We honor Cecilia Steinfeld's decades-long focus on art for history's sake because of the people that this art reveals, even implicitly. Texas art reveals what history books cannot, the vastness and wildness of Texas with little tolerance for romance. So finally, the very final note, we must acknowledge that for many decades, a key leader and scholar in Texas art and critically important advisor to numerous witty curators over time and directors, including me, is Ron Tyler, former director of the Amon Carter Museum, American history professor at the University of Texas at Austin, executive director of the Texas State Historical Association, and of course, you know, the author of numerous books and articles. And I just want to acknowledge you, Ron, because frankly, we would not even understand the importance of Texas art without you. Everything that we've done here at the Witte, you have been behind. Thank you so much. Thank you again. A little housekeeping. We will be moving these chairs up, so thank you for kind of getting up just for a little bit. This is panel 1. Panel 2 is in the Memorial Auditorium across the way. Panel A, panel B, panel 1, panel 2 in your conference notes. The restrooms are that way. The exhibit is that way. There is a really key and astonishingly beautiful part of the overall Art of Texas 250 Years in the Russell Hill Rogers Gallery, Texas Art Gallery. At home, we will be opening it at the this evening during the reception. We'll have a lot of the reception in that area, so you have time to see that as well. Really magnificent paintings. We purposely chose them for that Centennial Area Gallery. These are paintings that would have been displayed at home. So please stay tuned for that. You are absolutely welcome to go through the Art of Texas throughout the day and get the wands to listen to Ron and Michael and Francine and Bill. Bill couldn't be here with us today. I'm so sorry for that. And Ricardo. So enjoy your day. Thank you so much for being here and for everything you've done to make this day and this exhibition and book a reality. Thank you.